Hello and welcome back to Women's Football Talk, the YouTube channel that brings you all the latest news and stories from around the world of women's football. Now, before we get into today's video, make sure you smash that subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell so you never miss a video of ours. So today we are going to be looking at the final day that is happening in the WSL this Saturday. It has been a long and fantastic season with lots of ups and downs and different storylines across the season, and it's coming down to the final day for the WSL title. Now on Wednesday, Chelsea played their game that they had in hand over Manchester City against Tottenham Hotspur, and they managed to pick up a 1-0 victory thanks to a first half goal from Micah Hermano. Now Emma Hayes' side weren't at their best during the second half. Spurs definitely grew into that game and had their chances, and Chelsea seemed a bit lacklustre at times, but it didn't matter. They managed to hold on for the 3 points and now sit atop of the WSL table heading into this weekend's final set of games. Now they are level on points with Manchester City, however it is the goal difference that is separating the two sides. Chelsea's goal difference is plus 47 and Manchester City's is plus 45, so just the 2 goals separating the pair of them heading into this final game. So all eyes will be on Old Trafford and Villa Park this weekend, as Chelsea they travel up to Manchester United whilst Manchester City travel down to the Midlands to face Aston Villa. Now for Chelsea it would obviously be a perfect end to Emma Hayes' tenure as boss, going out winning a 5th consecutive WSL title and a 7th in her tenure. It's obviously been a bit of a rocky road over the last couple of months. We didn't know whether they could potentially win the quadruple, then it was the treble, then the double, and now it's just the WSL title. Then they had that shock defeat to Liverpool a few weeks ago, and you heard Emma Hayes saying that the title race is over. Then they get that thumping against Bristol City that put goal difference in their favour, so it's now completely flipped on its head as to who the favourites are in terms of the WSL title. So it is going to be a very, very interesting final day. Obviously, Chelsea have to go up to Man United, as I said, face Man United, who Man United beat them a couple of weeks ago in that FA Cup semi-final by 2-1 in their first ever victory against Chelsea. So it was a big, big win there for Mark Skinner's side. They've obviously coming off the high of winning the FA Cup last weekend against Tottenham Hotspur, so they'll be hoping to spoil the party for Emma Hayes' final game in charge of Chelsea. Can they get that victory again and end what has been a disappointing season for them? Obviously winning the FA Cup is all good, but in terms of compared to last season, it's been a massive drop-off disappointment for them. In terms of how I'd expect Chelsea to line up, we saw some changes from Emma Hayes in terms of how they were lined up against Tottenham. You saw the likes of Macario, Beaver Jones and Micah Hermano as sort of the forward three. Against Spurs, I would expect obviously Lauren James to come back in. She had been nursing a bit of injury. She wasn't fit enough to start against Tottenham, but she did come on in the second half towards the end, playing the last 10 minutes or so. If she's fully fit, you'd expect her to come in from the start, and the likes of Shirk and Niskin you'd expect to make a bit more of an appearance. And then obviously it's the last games for Mara Mioda and Fran Kirby, so they will probably come on at some point as well, depending on, more likely anyway, as it's their final game in Chelsea colours before they leave this summer. To look at the Manchester City part, obviously they just got to hope that they win and Chelsea drop points. The title race is theoretically out of their hands in that sense. They travel to Aston Villa, who have had some good results against Manchester City in previous years. Earlier on this season, the meeting between the two sides, Manchester City did win by 2-1. But if we flip back to last season, where Villa beat them in the FA Cup quarterfinals, beat them on the second match day, and they earned a draw in the other game that they met in the January of 2023. So Carla Ward's side know how to get a tough battle out of Manchester City. It's what's going to be her final game in charge, so they'll be hoping to give her a final send-off. So that's why I don't think it could be as plain sailing as Manchester City would hope in terms of playing this final game. It is, again, they're just going to be reliant that Chelsea drop points or end up drawing with Man United, and that they beat Aston Villa for the title race to go to them and win their first trophy in a long time. It's going to be very interesting to see how Manchester City can do. Lineup wise, obviously without Bunny Shaw still, who's going to be scoring the goals that they need this weekend? Is it going to be Jess Park, Chloe Kelly, Lauren Hemp? It's going to be a very interesting watch to see who is going to be that player that steps up for Manchester City when it is needed most, if it is at all needed this weekend. So that is the WSL preview in terms of the title race. The other games will be going ahead. Not a lot of permutations. One or two teams can move up slightly in the WSL table, but the rest of the games, all games including those two, kicking off at 3 p.m. UK time. So you have Tottenham, West Ham, Arsenal, Brighton, Bristol City versus Everton, and Leicester City versus Liverpool, as well as the two games we mentioned in this title race. Make sure you're following us on Twitter or X, WF Talks, all one word. We will be bringing you updates throughout those games on Saturday. And if you are in the United Kingdom, the Manchester United Liverpool versus Chelsea game will be on Sky Sports, and BBC Two will have Aston Villa versus Manchester City. So that is where you can watch the final day in the WSL. In the meantime, make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the post notification bell so you never miss a video of ours. Make sure you're following us on Twitter, as I said, WF Talks, and Women's Football Talk on Instagram, all one word. And make sure you subscribe to our Substack page, womensfootballtalk.substack.com. We have articles going out this week. We'll obviously look at the title race and everything else that's happening in the world of women's football. And make sure you tune in to the Women's Football Talk podcast, available on all podcast sites. Just search that. We have a preview out looking at this weekend's WSL fixtures and everything else that's happened in the world of women's football this week. But until then, we'll see you soon.